the Sacramento River. We are headed on over to Folsom Harley-Davidson. If you're familiar with the area, we are lucky enough to have 3 Harley-Davidson dealerships within, I don't know, maybe, I would say about 40 square miles of each other. So pretty cool. We're really lucky. Folsom Harley-Davidson is having their 2018 model open house, and we're gonna go check it out. Supposedly, and I contacted their internet director, and they said, yeah, come on out and you can test ride some. So we are going to try to test ride the 2018 Street Bob and the Lowrider. Hopefully they have a couple of those lying in wait so that we can try those out, because those are kind of the last 2018 models that I haven't ridden that I would like to ride.
20 minutes later.
We are in Folsom, California, home of the Folsom Auto Mall. Hear all kinds of terrible commercials for this place. And this is always fun. My worry here is always like the traffic coming from the rear and someone just not paying attention and then just cleaning me out. That is a worry I have. But again, I've said this before, if you're riding and you're always worried about what's going to happen, that's just not the way to run. You don't want to ride that way. So here we are, Folsom Harley-Davidson. So it looks like they've got some test rides set up out there. I'm going to go around the back way, so hopefully it goes through. If it doesn't, tough luck. Nope, it does. Sweet.
A few moments later.
So this is the 2018 Lowrider. Lots of chrome. I'm not going to be able to ride a Street Bob because they don't have one, but hey, I'll take what I can get, and this is a sweet ride. Now if you like chrome, this is the ride for you, because it is chock full of it. Very comfortable riding position. Looks like mid controls. Here we go. All right, so very different. This is like crazy different riding position than my bike. No more mid. You got the mid controls. And very pulley compared to 2013 Fat Bob. Oh, we're all clear. And this bike, didn't check the specs on the weight or anything, but it feels very light. And just so you know, full disclosure, not my favorite riding position. It's mid controls, definitely mid controls. These handlebars come right back to you. And this just is different. It feels like if you were riding a cruiser bicycle is what it feels like. Now I know that this is a cruiser. I ride what's considered a cruiser, but this is like, I'm just sitting here. My elbows are almost at my sides, and my knees. Even for a guy, I'm 5'7" with a 29-inch inseam, and even at my height, I feel like my knees are up to my chest. So heads up, if you're a tall guy, I don't even know if this would be an option for you, but I almost feel silly riding this bike. Now this is a weird feeling too. The throttle feels almost loose, and I don't know if it's just this particular bike, but the throttle feels like it's coming loose there. Now I like the sound of the stock pipes, not bad. I'm gonna try and keep the RPM lowish, but I could ride like this for a while. It's just that I feel like my hands are like by my knees, and my knees are way up. And again, I've had a couple bikes with mid controls and I like them, but this is kind of just, and this is, maybe it's because I'm so stretched out on my on my Fat Bob that this is the other extreme, but I guess, yeah, this is my best comparison is if you ride I've ever rode a cruiser bicycle. That's the equivalent of this bike. Now, I love Folsom Harley-Davidson because they let you take the bike out on the freeway. It's just a short jaunt, but still more than you'll get at other places. I'm trying to find out where the turn signal is telling you. There it is. So good lean angle, a lot of pull. Now the thing about this is because of the position I'm sitting in, and because you got a lot of that that pull, that torque in the beginning, it wants to jerk me back because I'm not leaned forward, I guess. For short jaunts around town, this is definitely going to be fun and comfortable to ride. But I think that if you're an aggressive rider, this is going to be, you're going to have to make some mods to this 2018 lowrider to make it a more aggressive ride for you, because this is just like, you know, I'm cruising around town kind of ride. And with all this chrome, that's probably what you're going for anyway. Very easy shifting. The shift has a nice distinct click, but it's also very smooth. And again, new motorcycle, so yeah, that's going to be the paint's kind of cool on this bike. It's not my favorite, but again, this isn't going to win any awards in my book for favorite bike. So I believe this is a 107. Let's see if I can get a look here. 107 Milwaukee 8 engine, and you can definitely feel it. But again, I've ridden the, I don't think I've ridden the 107. I think all the other 2018s that I've ridden had the 114. But the 107 on this riding style, it's a lot to handle. And again, I talked about how my 2013 Fat Bob feels nimble for a large bike. I mean, this bike, it's got a 107. It's got a bigger engine than mine, but I believe it's lighter than my bike as far as technical specs go. But it's also feels very light, very, very light. It makes me wish that I could ride the Fat Bob again today so I could get a really good comparison side by side of the two. So I kind of want to get around this truck. There we go. So again, this is just, I'm in 6th gear. Some pretty good sound from the exhaust. You probably can't hear it on the video, but the exhaust sound is decent. Oop, gotta get over. And it's a comfortable ride. The seats, and again, I've said this before about these new 2018s, the seats are just plush. They've added like a gel insert to the seat, and I don't know if maybe the pan that they sit in is stiffer, so that helps too. But super comfortable. Again, also compared to my Fat Bob, which is like a 94 inches, it's a long bike. This feels like I'm riding a Sportster. It really does feel very Sportster-ish, the lowrider does. Now, I believe to shed some weight, they also made the tank smaller because this looks like a small tank. So Harley-Davidson has come out and said that even though that they made the tank smaller, the gas mileage or the miles per gallon is supposed to be better on all models, so that should help you. But if you're an aggressive rider and you're opening it up a lot, you know, that's not gonna be the same case for you. And again, if you're opening it up a lot, you're probably not interested in gas mileage anyway. I'm standing here at the stoplight, flat-footed, easily flat-footed, and just all around, it's a comfortable ride. But again, like I said, you could take this on the freeway because it's definitely got the power and it's definitely got the comfortability as far as suspension goes. And I'm all about the new Softail models. The suspension on these is great. But the riding position, because your knees are way up and you know, because the handlebars come back so far back at you, I don't know. And I guess if that's your cup of tea, that's your cup of tea. But this to me feels more like, you know, I'm gonna shine up this chrome and we're gonna go for a ride around town. So I could definitely recommend this bike to those of you who would like to do that with your bike. But for those of you who want a little more aggressive style and a little more aggressive seating and riding position, there's the light rail. Let's race them. Okay, let's not race them. But if those of you who want a little more aggressive seating style and a little more aggressive performance, you're going to want to try out the Fat Bob or even the Fat Boy comparatively to this ride. Because of the front controls on the Fat Boy, it feels even a little more aggressive when you get your feet out in front like that, to me at least. And the handlebars don't come so far back right to you. I'm a drag bar kind of guy. I like to lean forward a little bit, but this is very upright. And I'm going to go back to the well on this one. It just feels like you're riding a beach cruiser bicycle. That's what it feels. It feels exactly like that, and it just feels so light. Every one of these, and I'd like to wish I could ride the Fat Bob or even the Fat Boy, so I can get an idea of the weight difference. But this bike feels so light, even at the stoplight here, and kind of tipping it side to side. I wouldn't dare do that on on my bike, because once you lose that thing is just gonna lean over on you. So definitely decent sound too out of this exhaust, the stock exhaust. More so, if I can remember right, definitely than the Fat Bob. The Fat Bob exhaust sounds more like the V-Rod, and it's just really like sportier sounding. But the Fat Boy, I cannot remember the sound on that one. But comparable probably to more the Fat Boy exhaust. So we're gonna come into the end of this ride. To give my impressions, and this is just going to be rehashing what I've already said. If you see, look, if I'm just going to ride here and show you how close my hands are to my knees, that's what you're looking at when you're riding this bike. So definitely, I'm only 5'7". If you're 6 feet tall or taller, you can imagine how close your knees are going to be to the handlebars and to your hands. So just a heads up, you'll definitely want to go out and ride this bike if you're interested in it. That's what I always tell my viewers, is to test out the ride for yourself. Because, you know, I can tell you all how I feel about this bike, but if, you know, that's not necessarily, oh, all right, but that's not even necessarily going to be how you feel about it. So here we are back at the joint. I'm going to take it all the way around. There's my wife. Yeah, but feels really confident in these turns. So there you go. That's all she wrote for the 2018 Lowrider. Trying to see where it says neutral. Oh, did I hit the hazards? No. And the kickstand, as you can see, is right there. That's kind of nice. Don't have to reach back with your foot to get the kickstand. How do I turn this? Oh, it's all keyless. No key. Just get a good look around it, maybe. So, impressions. After the fact, it's a very comfortable ride, and now that I hop back on my Fat Bob, just felt so weird to have those mid controls again. And I know that my Iron and my Sportster 8A3R both had mid controls, but to go from riding with forward controls instead of mid controls, it's just weird. And the one thing also that I don't, it's not my favorite thing about the mid controls anymore, is putting your feet down after when you stop and getting your pant legs or even your feet caught up on the pegs. So that's kind of a pain. I remember that kind of being a pain, but even more so since it's been a while since I've ridden with mid controls. So the lowrider was definitely a comfortable bike to ride. I don't have any complaints. It just wasn't my style any longer. And again, I said it so many times during the ride, but just it felt so weird to have your hands so close to your knees. And I'm imagining if you're a tall rider, you're probably like, yeah, join the club, buddy, because you probably feel like that a lot, which is probably why tall riders typically ride bikes that have forward controls, because they don't want their knees all up in their business. And I enjoyed riding the lowrider. I would never buy one. Now, would I buy a lowrider S if one was available and I had the money? Abso-freaking-lutely. That is still one of my favorite bikes. And you know, the lowrider S has like the risers and then the drag bars, so just a whole different feel to that bike. So if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up down below, as well as, if you're so inclined, hit that subscribe button. And if you want more content, hit that little bell button, because it'll notify you anytime I've got something coming out new. Guys, if you're riding, please be safe. And if you're not riding, get riding and have fun and be good. And I'm out.